Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to integrate a Django project with a Vite project. Um, Django is a web framework written in Python, which is amazing. It's easy to configure, easy to use, easy to test, and it gives you a lot of tools uh, from the database level to the front-end level for you to build your web application. But one of the things that Django doesn't do is integrate well with tools like React, Vue, Angular, Svelte. Um, so that's where Vite comes in. Vite is the next generation for, well, they say front-end tooling. If you're used to things like Browserify or Webpack, Vite does that and a little bit more with less configuration. And since it uses esbuild, it's faster than Webpack by a long shot. Um, and Vite has presets for React, Vue, Angular, Svelte, whatever front-end web framework that you choose. So these two would make a good fit. So I tried to integrate them into a single project and ended up with a configuration that's kind of easy to do, and everything is on this gist here. I'm going to put the link on the description. But yeah, let's dive in, and I'm going to show you the power of using Django with some tools like Vite. So let's first start a new Vite app. If I'm not mistaken, this is the command. It's npm init vite.js /app. Yeah, let's do it. It gives you some configuration options here. I'm going to create a sample Vite app or something. Okay, sample Django Vite. That's better. I'm going to use React just because React is what most people use. I prefer Svelte, but since this is like a tutorial, I'll go with React for now. I'm going to use JavaScript just so, yeah, JavaScript. So if you see, now we have this folder here, sample Django Vite. It has an index.html. An index.html, which is like the entry point for the app. We will only use it to point to the correct JavaScript entry file, but it is going to be used for Vite, for bundling. Package.json, which has the dependencies and the scripts. Vite config, which is the default configuration file for Vite. I'm going to open it later. You're going to see that it's really easy to configure. And the src folder, which has like our React app. Okay, so JSX, CSS, SVGs, and whatever. Okay, so yeah, we have our Vite app. So now we need to create a Django app. I'm not going to talk a lot about virtualenv or how Django works, because, well, everyone that works with Python has a different solution for using virtualenvs. I use virtualenv with virtualenv wrapper, but with a custom command and whatever. I'm not going to dive too deep into that. So first of all, I'm going to use Django admin. For you to have this command here, you need to install Django on your PC, not inside the virtualenv. We will need it inside the virtualenv as well. but this is like the scaffolding tool. So I just used pip3 install Django -- user. But yeah, we're gonna start a project called, I'm going to give it the same name just so that things are consistent. So yeah, it created that, and then I'm going to create a virtual env. Yeah, I tried this previously, so yeah, created the virtual env and then sample Django Vite. This is a custom command just for me to go to the project folder with the virtual env active. So you see that I'm on virtual env sample Django Vite with Python 3.9.4 here with this virtual env active. And if I show you the files here, bin, lib, and pyvenv are from my virtual env, and manage.py and sample Django Vite are from my Django project. So yeah, first thing is pip install Django, because since we're inside a virtual env, it has no packages installed, so I'm installing Django here again. And I'm going to Django admin start app. If you don't know, Django needs both a project and apps inside that project. Apps are like different contexts, for example, authentication or products or whatever. So you need these apps because there lies the source code for your views, for your models, for whatever you need. The project only comes in with the configuration files. So I'm going to make an app core just because I'm lazy. But please, if you have a proper Django project, give beautiful names for your apps. So yeah, and then I'm gonna copy all of the files from our Vite project, because the idea is to mash these projects together. So copy -r home sample Django Vite, everything from there to here. The only thing that it overrides is the git ignore, which is empty anyway for a new Django project, so it's fine. Now we have our files from the Django app and from the Vite app here. So index, package.json, sample Django Vite, src with a React app, and Vite config. npm install just to see if things are working. This is like the basic setup. You probably have already a Django project or a Vite project you want to integrate. So I'm only making the steps so you know what exactly is needed. So yeah, npm run dev should open up our Vite app on localhost 3000. Yeah, it's here. So everything's working. And I need to Python manage.py migrate just to have a development database for Django. So now we have a db.sqlite 3, and I have an alias here, manage, for Python manage.py. So manage run server. So it opens the development server on 8000. So you see we have no views at all here. So it just uses like a default landing page. But yeah, now we can start working on the code. So I'm opening VS Code here. First things first. I'm going to move this index.html to inside the source folder, because it's kind of weird to have an index.html file inside the root of your project. And since this is not going to be used by Django, only by Vite, it's better for it to be there. But then I'm going to point my main bundle here. You see that it was source main.jsx, which is this file here, but now it needs to be just main.jsx. Same thing for the fav icon here. So yeah, for the Vite configs, I only have one more thing to configure on the Vite side, which is some configurations for the Vite config. The Vite config file is mostly empty. Since I chose a React app, it put like React refresh here, which is for hot module replacement. But we're gonna just override with this. Things that are changed here. Build manifest true. This means that whenever we build for production, it's gonna create a file named manifest.json that contains all the build files and their paths. So Django knows which files were built by the front end for production, and it knows how to import them. That's the only thing, that's the only reason this is needed here. Second thing, I changed the base path for the production files. When we are building for production, I append this /static to the beginning of all files, of all paths, because Django expects to find static files on the static URL. For development, we don't need that. We just use a /. And the root, I'm going to change this to src. This root here, it points to where our index.html file is for the Django app. So since it's inside the src, it's going to be here. Cool. So that's it for Vite. Everything's ready for Vite. So yeah, let's start digging into what we need to do for Django. So first of all, we need to well, some basic configurations, right? We need to open the settings.py file, which is the main settings file for the whole Django app. First of all, we have this app core that I created here. I need to add it to the installed apps so we can use it. And inside this core folder, I'm going to have some more files. This is like the basic file structure for a Django app, but we will need a couple of things more. First of all, we're going to need a base template for our Django app, and that means that by convention we need a templates folder here with the file inside. So base.html. I'm going to pass through this a little bit later. I'm only creating the files we need, and then I'm going to explain what everything does. So we need as well a template tag for rendering our bundle on production. So we need another folder. By convention, it's named template tags. If you don't put these with these names, Django won't find them, so please do. And since this is a Python module, I need an init.py file and our template tag file, which is render Vite bundle.py. So this is a script I've made, so it's not that beautiful, but it works. So yeah, let's start explaining what is happening here. Let's start by seeing base.html file. So first of all, we're loading the template tag that we're gonna use. And if we're on development, if the bug is true, if we're not running this app on production, you see that I'm including the localhost 3000 Vite client here. That means that I'm going to, for development, I'm going to need both the Vite and the Django web servers running in parallel. So that Django routes to a page, which would be this one, but the JavaScript files are pointing to the Vite web server. So if we're on, if the bug is true, we inject the Vite client for hot module replacement and whatever. And since this is a React app, I need to add this script as well. It's only for React apps, but it's needed. And if it's on the bug, we also inject the main JavaScript file for our app, which in this case is source main.jsx. Okay. So yeah, this is the file that's gonna be used by Django. Don't be confused with this other index.html. This is only for Vite to know what files they need to bundle, which is only the main.jsx file. This won't be used by Django at all. So yeah. But if we're in production, if we're not on debug, we just use the template tag. What the template tag does is it finds the manifest.json, that file that I told you before, that has all of the files generated by the bundle. So it reads that and creates a script module and link tags for everything. So what that means is that for production, it's we won't have a Vite server. We only have the build, the result of the build for production. So yeah, this is the template tag that does all the magic. So yeah. Besides that, we need some other configurations on settings.py. Let me open this and copy because, well, that's why gists are here. So on the static files part, I'm going to put all of this. Well, allowed hosts is up here. I'm going to delete this one. Allowed host is a configuration for production, so be sure to get this right. For now, since we're just testing this, I'm going to put all the hosts are allowed. Don't do this in production, it's a security problem. But for now, just for testing, well. And internal IPs, we need this for this debug tag to work. The link for the documentation on why that is needed is here. The Vite app dir, which is for the template tag to know where the manifest.json will be. This points to the same place as root on vite.config. So here it's source src, so here is its src as well. Static URL is the same as the default one, but static file steers, we need to add this folder from the Vite app tier. And since it's already here, things are going to work perfectly. We need static root as well for production. So yeah, this is mostly it. I'm going to cheat a little bit. just for me to show you. Wait. Just for me to show you better how it works on production, how it works on development, I'm going to copy some URLs here. So cat test Vite urls.py. We need these two here. Okay. So yeah, we created the template, but we need to add a route to it. And I do it by using this repath here. The idea is that first it tries to get all of the URLs. Well, when you go to the URL on the browser and you put like /admin, for example, it's going to first look into the Django routes, and then if it 404s, it redirects to our front-end app, and our front-end app will do everything for the front-end. So if you, for example, have an API, you're going to put it here, another API, but at the end of the day, all the front-end is going to be redirected to the base.html file here. So this base.html is this file here. So yeah. And this one, just ignore this one because this is just for us to test this simulating a production environment. Oh, I needed a couple of things as well. I needed template view. Oh, I shouldn't have closed that. Work, cat. I need these 3 here, this 4 here. Cool. So yeah, that's what we need for testing. This one is needed. Okay, it's strictly needed because this is what will render our base.html, our front-end bundle. But this one, please don't do this in production. This is only for us to test, okay? Cool. So if everything is ready, I'm going to npm run dev here. So I have the, I have the Vite server online. So of course it's going to, if I open localhost 3000, it's going to work. And I'm going to run the Django as well, the Django server as well, manage run server. And the localhost 8000. Oh, it didn't work. Why? Localhost source main was blocked. So probably I'm pointing things to the wrong place. Probably this base.html file here needs to point to main.jsx because it's on the same level as index.html. Yeah, that's it. So you see that it's working. Well, SVGs are not working, and this is good because you're gonna need to get used to using static files from Django instead from the React app, at least for static files. Everything that's related to dynamic code should be on the Vite part. Like, for example, the CSS, you see that the CSS is working. The only thing that doesn't work are the SVGs here. But again, it's because the SVGs should have been served by Django instead of the React app. You're gonna need to fiddle around with it. But just to make things clear, if I change the JSX file here, it instantly remakes the file that changed and injects the hot module here. So that's most of the gain for development. It's really, 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 really fast. And it scales because since this uses esbuild, it only changes the files that have changed. It doesn't regenerate the bundle. There's no bundle to regenerate. It only regenerates that specific file and injects it. So even if your app is huge, the refresh will be as fast as it is right now. So yeah. Cool, but it's working on development. But what we need for it to work on is on production as well, right? So we have the best of the two worlds here because we have the Django admin here as well. So we have Django is serving everything, including the front end part. So yeah, this is it for development. It works, it's beautiful, it's fast. And let's try simulating a production environment here, okay? So first of all, I'm going to kill the Vite server because we won't have a Vite server on production. So then I'm going to run the production build. And another good point is that Vite is really fast for building as well. So yeah, it created the production files here, and it put on this source this folder here. You should add it to git ignore, by the way, but well, yeah. So we have well, everything on the Vite part is ready for production. We now just need to fool Django into believing it's on production. To do that, we just change debug true to debug false. And again, Django doesn't serve static files on production, but we are adding this static route here, so it will in this specific case, but it's only for testing purposes, okay? So yeah, and the last thing we need to do is to run collect static, because it's a step needed for Django to copy the files, the static files for a specific folder for production. So Python manage.py collect static. So you see that it copies everything here, and it creates this static files folder, and you're gonna see the assets here from the Vite app for production, and the manifest.json, that file that I told you that has all of the files for production. So yep. Cool. So now we just run the server again. Manage run server. Now it's running as it would run on production, okay? But it's using the dev server. So if we refresh here, you see that everything works. Well, the SVG won't work, but it's fine. Just copy the SVG to the Django static files and point the SVG to it. It's fine. It's not that big of a deal. And you'll see here that we don't have the Vite client on the head part because, well, we're on production. And we appended all the files needed for the React app to work exactly on that part that the render Vite bundle puts the things. So yep, everything works both for development and for production. It was kind of an easy thing to configure. Of course, I needed a lot of time to fiddle around to get to this point, but I hope this was useful for you. I'm going to use this for my personal projects if I need a backend. But I'm going to use it with Svelte. I still need to test it with Svelte, in fact. But yeah, that's about it. Thank you for your time. And if you liked, just like, and any comment is welcome. So, yep, thanks so much. See you soon. Bye-bye.